porque yo sé que se puede. Sí se puede, sí se puede. Deja que lo malo al viento se lo lleve, que el amor de Dios tu corazón lo llene. Con la ayuda del Creador todo se puede. Sí se puede, sí se puede. Deja que lo malo al viento se lo lleve, que el amor de Dios tu corazón lo llene. Con la ayuda del Creador todo se puede.
Sí se puede, claro que se puede. Y el que diga lo contrario será mejor que se aleje. Cruzado de brazos, jamás tú te quedes. Créele al de arriba, trabaja y no te dejes frustrar. Dile adiós al desánimo y la vagancia. Esfuérzate con valentía y perseverancia. No hay nada imposible para aquel que cree. Y verás tu sueño realidad como yo lo logré. Las tormentas de la vida de seguro que vendrán. Para todo hay salida y un rayo de sol saldrá. Sé fuerte, no te me quites, fuerza del cielo tendrás. Canta conmigo y repite, si se puede, ya verás.
Si se puede, deja que lo malo al viento se lo lleve, que el amor de Dios tu corazón lo lleve. Con la ayuda del Creador todo se puede. Si se puede, si se puede. Deja que lo malo al viento se lo lleve, que el amor de Dios tu corazón lo llene. Con la ayuda del Creador todo se puede.
Sí se puede, claro que se puede. Sé fuerte y lo lograrás. Con fe las cosas suceden, no te me quedes atrás. Comentario negativo, no le preste oído y sin parar sigue hacia adelante. Eso que anhelas y perseveras llegará en cualquier instante. Dilo conmigo,
Sí se puede,
no te quites.
sí se puede,
Vamos pa' encima,
sí se puede,
claro que sí.
sí se puede,
Dilo conmigo,
sí se puede,
no te quites.
sí se puede,
Vamos pa' encima,
sí se puede,
claro que sí.
Si se puede, si se puede. Deja que lo malo al viento se lo lleve, que el amor de Dios tu corazón lo llene. Con la ayuda del Creador todo se puede. Si se puede, si se puede. Deja que lo malo al viento se lo lleve, que el amor de Dios tu corazón lo llene. Con la ayuda del Creador todo se puede.
En la vida siempre va a haber gente que te va a decir que no se puede. Pero ¿sabes qué? Escucha, claro que se puede. Yeah, Manny Montes, Alex Zurdo, Línea de Fuego, Chuelo, Caldetronic y los legendarios.
I don't know about you, but I cannot get tired of hearing this song. Buenos días a todos de nuevo. Si ustedes
Buenos
me
días.
escuchan, perfecto.
Buenos
Me escuchan
días.
muy bien.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Bienvenidos. Hola.
Buenos días, profe.
Perfecto. All right. Bienvenidos a nuestro taller para el examen de español CSEC, o sea, la sesión de práctica para el examen oral. Soy Ramonia Hamilton, funcionaria, o sea, metodóloga nacional de español en el Ministerio de Educación y Juventud. And I know my students are understanding what I'm saying. You know, we have a lot of interpreter challenges today. It's the first interpreter challenge. So let me go again. Mi nombre es Ramonia Hamilton, metodóloga nacional de español en el Ministerio de Educación y Juventud en Jamaica. So let's see if you're on the right track. What's my name? Well, you clearly heard that. Anyway, so I'm Ramonia Hamilton, Education Officer for Spanish in the Ministry of Education and Youth in Jamaica. And a big welcome to you all. ¿Cómo estamos?
Bueno.
Perfecto. I want for you to put in the chat, just drop an emoji in the chat to really show us how you're feeling. Sometimes, you know, when we were learning Spanish, and the very first thing you learned was when somebody asked you was, muy bien, gracias, y usted, or muy bien, gracias, y tú, to the point where it became so, you know, robotic that if anybody asks you, not that it's a bad thing, because it's good to be muy bien, but I want for you to place how you're really feeling in the chat. Hopefully it's a muy bien. Let me see what's happening. Nice, wow. I'm seeing some tears. I'm seeing some sleepy people. Wake up, wake up. It's not the time to be sleepy. I'm seeing a few muy mals and cansada. I'm seeing feliz. I'm seeing hambre. Igualmente. Because I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm seeing mostly good stuff. And we have a few excited people here today. I'm certainly excited, right? You can tell, you know, I came out in all my bright colors today, because it's an awesome session. It's an awesome day. So I'd like to welcome especially all the educators who are here. You know, my education officers, my teachers. I want to especially acknowledge, even in her absence, and she apologizes, she's in a meeting and representing our section, because we're having a section meeting today. So our head of section, Maestra Marta Corbett-Ball, she sends greetings. She'll join us as soon as possible. So I want to especially acknowledge her even in her absence, and also Roxanne Loveless, who is not very well today, but they're all here, but she's here in spirit. I'm not sure if we have Errol Houghton, who is on as yet. He is our Chief Examiner for Oral Spanish, CSEC Oral Spanish here in Jamaica, and also an Education Officer for Region 7. Errol, if you're here, feel free to say good morning. But yes, bienvenidos a todos los profesores de español, nuestros colegas, nuestros héroes. Gracias a ustedes por su presencia, su trabajo, mucha dedicación en la preparación de los estudiantes. And to you, our students, a nuestros estudiantes de Jamaica y del Caribe. We'll soon do a school big up, but I know we have a few students here who are from other Caribbean islands outside of Jamaica. And so I want to just acknowledge you as well. Students, you know that you are our stars, las estrellas de hoy. Yo sé que ustedes se van a destacar mucho. Ustedes se van a destacar mucho en el examen. No solo el examen de español, sino también en todos los exámenes. All right? What it is that I'm saying to you here? Anybody picked up what I just said? Anything? Ustedes van a hacer bien, van a salir bien en los exámenes, en todos.
So, Miss, you said we're going to do well in that exam?
That's right, and not just that exam, but
Not
what?
only Spanish, but every exam that we do.
There you go. There you go. Give me a high five. Yep, that's a high five right there. So, yes, you are. And we're not just saying that. We have confidence in you. You know your teachers do. We do. So these review sessions, they will run today and tomorrow. I want to also especially, they run today and tomorrow. And they are one of our initiatives at the Ministry of Education to assist students in their preparation for CSEC Spanish and French, because we had some French sessions earlier this week, and we will be having some more French and Spanish sessions for the other papers 1 and 2. So we'll share that information with you very shortly. So we are We're also grateful for the support of other stakeholders, you know, persons who have been supporting us. Agradecemos a todos que han colaborado con nosotros. We, for example, the Jamaica Teaching Council, we are using the JTC's platform. They're an agency of the Ministry of Education. We want to especially acknowledge the Spanish Jamaican Foundation as well, La Fundación España Jamaica, headed by Vanessa Megu. I am not sure if Vanessa is on this morning, but she might be on later on or tomorrow. We want to also acknowledge the National Association of Spanish Teachers, la Asociación Nacional de Profesores de Español en Jamaica, with President Narek Griffiths, who is on this morning. And also, Narek, if you're hearing us, please just greet us. If you're so able.
Saludos a todos, es un placer de estar aquí y siempre pueden contar con ANPE para apoyar estas iniciativas.
Sí, la verdad. Gracias, Presidente. And also the Teachers Colleges of Jamaica, in particular, Church Teachers College, Sam Sharp Teachers College, and Shortwood Teachers College. I really want to big up our teachers colleges. And we have, I'm not sure if Professor Malvis is on. I know she had expressed some difficulties earlier, but we just want to acknowledge her as the head of the teachers, the Board of Studies for Foreign Languages, for Modern Languages, for the Teachers Colleges of Jamaica. And we also want to, so we have some awesome student teachers among us. And of course, our presenters for today, our team, our super equipo, as what I call them. They are external oral examiners. They're for CSEC Spanish. They are lecturers of Spanish. They're teachers, very active and experienced teachers of Spanish, very passionate people. You'll find that when you go into the breakout rooms with them. And if you allow me, I'd really like to especially acknowledge them. And professores, in the interest of time, if you can just turn on your cameras and wave. I'm not sure if Andre Bruff is on as yet. Andre, professor. So todos los profesores, Andre Bruff, Kevin Edwards and Angela Smith Griffith, Professor Wilma and Jacqueline, Yaenka Diaz and Maite Diaz Martinez, Dave Foster, Samia Gay Lawrence, Kitson Sherman, Osmani Reyes del Sol, Piedad Torres, Professora Malvis, Dylan Ashman, Professor Dylan Ashman, Cassandra, Janine, Shauna K. Bryan, Stephanie Blair Allen, Professora Karashi Wolf, and also our super student teachers who are here with us, Jessica, Ilani. We also have Professora Marianela Cabarres Romano, Paula Lee Mackenzie, Lennox Bogle, Shamoya Willis, Sarah Williams, Ronaldo Johnson, Romaine Simmons, Zori Atkinson, Chanel Linton, Jordan Cranston, Jacqueline Porter, and Jessica Denton. And Jessica, if I said your name twice, it's a sign, you know, it's good stuff. So I had to do this because we are talking about a team of dedicated persons, you know, dedicated professionals, foreign language educators, and they have come out. Students, they are showing up for you today. They have shown up for you today, and I know that you will represent, you'll be showing up as well, all right? So let's acknowledge some schools that are here with us. Let's do a school shout out. Please place the name of your school in the chat. Let me see which school first will be out there. Let me see. Whoa. All right, they're coming in fast and furious. I'm seeing Arden as the first school, Arden High, but I'm also seeing Hampton, Campion, Knox, Westwood High, Myrtle Grove High School, and that is SASS Grenada. I'm not sure what the abbreviation stands for, but you can put that in the chat again. Big up to Glenmere High, Clarendon College, Denby High School. I'm seeing Grammar School, St. Rose Modern Secondary School. That looks like not a Jamaican school. Also St. Mark's, the Anglican High School, William Nid, St. Vincent, Arden, Knox, yes, my alma mater. And I'm seeing Anglican High School again, Beanfield Comprehensive, Excelsior, Stair Town, big up Stair Town, Cornwall College, Montego Bay High, so many. We are acknowledging you, we're acknowledging Irwin High, Merle Grove, and all the other schools, you know, so many schools, so little time, but we're going to do a school shout out each day. So if your school wasn't called today, know that it's going to be called another day. All right. Speaking of the days, and by the way, guys, if you have any classmates or friends and you're not seeing them online, please just send them a message, give them a call, let them come on. All right. Today's themes, this morning's themes are home and family and shopping. All right. And each day we're going to have nuggets for you in the morning session. And I want to share some nuggets with you. Before I do so, let me just double check that Professor Bruff is on. Not seeing him. Professor Edwards, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Can you please check on Professor Bruff, please?
Check your message.
All right. All right, thank you. Not seeing a message from him, but you can message me as well.
Ramona, you mute your mic.
Sorry, just realizing. I'm not seeing a message from him, Professor Kevin, but please just contact him. Okay, so he's having a challenge logging on. Some of us did this morning. We'll try to rectify that. I'm going to ask.
One moment, Ramona.
Dime.
Could we just ask those from the other Caribbean islands to put their country next to their schools, since we're not familiar with many of their names?
That's true.
So
Good suggestion.
Thanks, guys.
Good suggestion, Professor Jacqueline. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so Professor Edwards, I would ask you to please prepare yourself in the meantime and prepare the PowerPoint in the meantime, if you're able to, because I know that you guys, well, had planned some stuff together. If not, then we can still weather through. All right. All right. So students, very quickly, just want to wrap up this section. I was saying to you that each day we're going to have some nuggets for you, what we call in Spanish. I mean, a nugget would be like a consejo sencillo, you know, algún tesoro. And also affirmations, afirmaciones, declaraciones for you before we start the session. And it's very important because some of you are feeling, you know, you have that feeling of trepidation, and this is in order for you to be in a right space mentally and spiritually to do your best in these exams. All right. So for today's nugget, I just want to let you know that you are empowered, because by the mere fact that you are able to communicate a thought or an idea in Spanish, in a different language, it means that you are empowered. So I want for you to think of the word empowerment. Every time you think about Spanish, think empowerment. Some of you here are doing Spanish and French. Madre, double empowerment. You are learning a foreign language, you're learning foreign languages. And we have some students here who are doing Portuguese as well. Big up to you too. And so see it in that light, you know, some people are looking at you and they're saying, believe me, they're saying to you, you say you speak a foreign language or you're learning Spanish, and it's like wow, you know. They're like, oh, you're learning Spanish, or oh, you speak Spanish. In other words, you know, you're not a normal average person. You know, you're not average. In Jamaica, we would say you're not normal. Alright? Exacto. So I want for you to see yourself in that light. And so the affirmation, I want for you to take note that the big theme of this workshop, all of the workshop series are under the theme. Can anybody tell me? It's 3 words, 3 Spanish words, 3 strong, powerful Spanish words. And if you were in earlier, there was a video playing with those words being repeated over and over and over. Excellent, excellent. Sí se puede. And even with your mics closed, I want for you to listen to yourself and say, sí se puede. Because, you know, your life, students, is a journey, you know, and you're on your own journey. You're in your own lane, right? And God has a different plan for your life from your classmates, from your friends, and only you can fulfill that. And that is why, especially now, you should never ever compare yourself to anybody, okay? Focus on where you are now and focus on where you want to be. But don't be so caught up with where you want to be that you forget to focus on the good things you have going for you now, you know? I'm so happy Professor Lewis is on because, well, Lewis Wallace, because I don't know if you even remember this, Prophet Jelita, but you taught us a dialogue in grade 7 and the words have not left me. She would have us recite dialogues, you know, and that was my favorite thing to do in Spanish class, you know, go home and study dialogue and come back and show off and, you know, recite it in front of the class. Anyway, let me not get carried away. But one of those lines in the dialogue said, ¿Qué tienes ahí en la mano? ¿Qué tienes ahí en la mano? It was a conversation between 2 friends. Somebody had a gift to hand over to the other one, and the other one saw it and was asking about it, you know, what do you have in your hand? ¿Qué tienes ahí en la mano? And so I'm asking you students, you know, what do you have in your hand? God asked Moses that same question, you know, when he gave him this massive assignment to deliver the Israelites. Moses was like, God, you know, this is just me. I don't have anything. And God was like, Moses, ¿qué tienes ahí en la mano? What do you have in your hand? And Moses was like, you know, I have a rod. But you know what that rod was used to do? So many things, including separating a whole sea and letting a whole generations of people pass through. So I'm asking you students the same question. You know, now you're faced with doing something so big and you're feeling inadequate. Some of you are feeling inadequate and some of you are feeling empowered, and that's good. But I want to speak specifically to, even if you're feeling a sense of empowerment, at the same time, you're paying attention to some inadequacies. You know, all the stuff that we're not good at, or what we think we need to improve, or what we have convinced ourselves that we can't do. I want for you to focus on the things you can do, the positive things about yourself. Each of you is able to find at least one thing you're able to say in Spanish, no matter how small you think it is. Okay, and believe me, that one thing, that one sentence, that one question that you are able to say in Spanish, it's like it's a big deal for other people. And guess what? It is a big deal. There's someone out there who wishes that they could say something in Spanish that you are already able to say in Spanish. All right. So don't focus on the vocab you don't have, you know, just do your best with what you have. Use what you have while you try to learn more. So build on what you have, or at least focus on the good stuff. And it's not just for the academics. This is for everything in life. You know, God gave us gifts and talents, and he gave them to you because he wants you to use them for so many things, you know. So celebrate and appreciate yourself, because believe me, students, you are all that. So I want you to, let me share some affirmations for you. You know that the most powerful weapon known to human existence is the tongue, and because your words have power to make or break. And so we're going to use our words to empower ourselves and claim all that we're able to, all that we want to be and all that we are. So with your mics closed, and as I close out this session, let me share my screen with you. I'm just checking if you're able to see. All right, guys, can you see my screen?
Yes. See.
All right, awesome.
See.
All right, so I want for you all with your mics muted. With your mics muted. Well, I have an idea. I need one student. Just do a raise hand who would want to repeat the Spanish version of our affirmations for today. So we have our affirmations. All right. So the first one is, I'm not seeing any hands. Anybody wants to take a go? I need a student to speak and represent everybody. All right, Maurice. All right, Maurice. Awesome. So Maurice, you're going to say the Spanish, you know. But everybody else, let's go. And I want you all saying it out loud. And I trust that you are, because you're giving power and energy to those words. All right, ready? I am extraordinary. I am not average.
I am not average.
Muy bien. Soy extraordinario. In my case, extraordinaria.
So I must repeat that, right?
Sí.
Okay. Soy extraordinario.
Muy bien. And students, feel free to, if anybody else wants to go. I have what it takes. Tengo lo necesario para lograr el éxito. Tengo lo necesario para lograr el éxito. Somebody say that, please.
Tengo lo necesario para lograr el éxito.
Muy bien. I am well able. Soy muy capaz.
Soy muy capaz.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Todo lo puedo en Cristo que me fortalece. Perfecto. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
All right. Excelente, excelente, estudiantes. And by the way, your Spanish sounds very nice. Your Spanish sounds very nice. All right. So, not sure what's happening. We have our, we're going to do a main presentation. And let me just tell you that that is going to be the format of the rest of the days. We will be having a main presentation for each session, and then we're going to be having breakout practice sessions. Okay, so I want you to bear that in mind, and each day we're going to be focusing on a different set of themes so that you can get enough practice in reading and also in the conversation. Okay, and also I want you to, I forgot what I was saying, so sorry. All right. So let's go. Is Professor Bruff on? Is he back with us? Andre? All right, I'm seeing his name here in the chat, but in the interest of time, let me see if I can verify what is happening with him. But guess what, team? My team of super examiners and my teachers who are online, I'm going to open up the floor for you. We are going to be looking at strategies, tips, words of advice. And like I said again, strategies for your success in your oral exams. So if there's any oral examiner, external oral examiner, who is online now, within my team and outside, and any other teacher of Spanish, I would like for you to give our students any tips that you have found very, very, very useful, you know, in your practice and even among your own students, feel free to go ahead. All right. So I'm actually opening up the floor now. Guys, we're live. We can't be quiet. All right, are you guys hearing me?
Sí.
Okay, muy bien. So, but let's start with the students then. Let us start with the students. So what advice, based on your experience as students, would you give to anybody? Based on your experience, would you give to anybody who's going to be doing CSEC Spanish right now? I'm seeing stay calm, just be confident and don't give up. Good stuff. Davian, go ahead.
Miss, what I would say is try not to memorize, because while yes, you may know the answer, memorizing can sometimes make you forget. If you forget one word, then you forget the whole thing. So try to use words that you would remember instead of memorizing from Google Translate.
That is an absolutely awesome piece of advice. Let me tell you. And some of you have found this already because some of you did mock exams and you would have experienced that already. Thank you so much for being so amazing students as you populate the chat with your responses. I'm seeing some amazing responses. Guys, just check out the chat. You know,
listen, the chat is coming alive with valid points. I'm loving what I'm seeing in the chat, Romelia. It's great.
Yes, it is amazing. And Professor Kitson, do you know that Professor Kitson is our resident, when I say resident, I mean international still, you know, just kind of, you know, MC. So, Prof, just continue to acknowledge the responses in the chat and to just sort of hand over to anybody else or open the floor, Professor Sherman, to any other examiner who would want to speak at this time while we try to rectify what's happening with Senior Prof. So I'm handing over to you, Prof.
Buenos días a todos. Just checking on what's going on in the chat. I want to just shout out some of the great advice that the students are giving. Trust me, you know how best to give advice to your colleagues. So let me give this a try. So I see Miss Lubing said that it's important to widen your vocabulary and practice. We see where Miss Cook is saying that one strategy that you can use is to make flashcards in order to improve your vocabulary retention. We have Angela Bowen suggesting that you could practice with your family. And this is so interesting. You become the teacher and you teach your family what you already know. Most importantly, I see Ashanti Higgins saying, believe in yourself. Davison is suggesting that it's important to first have a mindset that you can do whatever you put your mind to. And especially with foreign languages, this is important. Miss Brown is saying, focus on your breathing, take deep breaths, right? Try to calm yourself as you go into the examination room, because a calm mind is able to comprehend, right? Somebody said make use of the available resources that are there on YouTube and other social media platforms. This person says, practice, 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 practice. And I think that is important. All right, so let's see some other responses. This student is saying, pay attention to the interrogatives, right? Know these key words that are asking you what to do. Que, quien, cuando. Pay attention to those. Be consistent in terms of your responses. We are moving down. We're trying to get all the responses that you've shared because these are all good. Now, Prof Foster is saying go simple in your responses. If you say too much, you might lose your chain of thought. Sometimes small things bring great results. So small steps, calm down, get with the exam and execute. All right. Are you still there, guys? Checking in. All right, great. All right, so those are some of the suggestions that were made by your colleagues or by your students. Some additional tips, especially for the oral exam, words like describe, right? Explain, describe, y explica, require a little more than a one-word response. So practice a longer response. So if you know a long response, you can use parts of that for shorter questions, especially when it comes to the daily routine and to some other questions that require to respond in parts. Pay attention to adverbs like mente and dar and dares so that you can figure out whether you're supposed to give just a short response or a longer response. As regards the oral reading passage, you can pay attention to the accents and where they are. They indicate that you need to stress that syllable. Pay attention to punctuation marks because these translate to fluency. So if you recognize the punctuation marks, then you're able to read with intonation and your reading will carry with it meaning, right? For words that don't have accents or stresses, we understand that the stress naturally falls on the penultimate syllable. That's the second to last syllable. Outside of that, there will be an accent. So pay attention to those as well. Now, the topic of the reading passages, you should be able to look for clues, right? So in terms of understanding what you're reading, always read the title of the reading passage first. And whilst you're in the preparation period, try to get an understanding of what the passage is saying so that when you're reading, you can read with comprehension, right? And understanding. For long words, it's important to slow down, syllabicate. I often tell my students, use the 3S principle. Sound the vowels, right? After you've sounded the vowels, you syllabicate, then you say the word out loud. And if you use that strategy, you're able to decode using word attack skills, the longer words. Practice reading in front of a mirror to family members so you get accustomed to speaking in front of others. For the purpose of the exam, the examiner will be in the room, right? If the examiner can't hear you or you're inaudible, then chances are you won't maximize on your potential to score. All right, so those are just some tips that we can mention quickly. Ramonia, are you ready? Ramonia?
Right here, Kitson. Right here, Professor Kitson. We're still trying to work through the technical difficulties with Professor Bruff, but you have given a bit of está aquí. Perfecto.
I think I'm here now. Estoy aquí ahora. Pienso.
Welcome, sir.
You think you're here, Profe?
Over to you, Ramonia.
All right. Professor Brock.
To send a link on them.
It is good to have you here. Before I hand over to you, I'm gonna ask whoever is speaking to just mute your mic, or one of my co-hosts just mute everybody, please.
Different.
Click the link. Thank you so much. Students, before I hand over, let me just share my screen with you again. One sec. Right, here we go. All right, are you seeing my screen, everybody?
See.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. So I don't believe there's any student here who is new to online sessions, but we still need to have our reminders. I want for you to go ahead and rename yourself. You are allowed to rename yourself if your full name is not there. We need to have you participating with your full name. Continue to keep your microphones muted. If you have a question or comment, just use the raise hand option and wait to be acknowledged, all right? When you're acknowledged, open your mic and speak. And when you're finished, remember to close your mic and lower your hands. And you have been using the chat room. That's excellent. And I have been seeing nothing but appropriate messages. Students, I want to commend you on that. Keep it up. Keep it up. I'm seeing nothing but positivity and commendations, and you are blazing the chat with suggestions, and you're participating a lot. So keep the spirit high, keep it going. We want for you to keep it that way, because we will have to excuse anybody who posts anything inappropriate in the chat. All right, so let's keep it that way. So with that said, let me just introduce you to our main presenter for today, Professor Andre Brough. He is Minister of Education and Youth in Jamaica, as well as Jamaican Teaching Council award-winning educator. He taught Spanish for a decade at Camperdown High School and has also taught in Japan. And he's back home with us, and we're so happy to have him, Mrs. Students. It's not even funny. We had to have him here this morning for you. Senor Brough is a Ministry of Education resource personnel as well. He's one of our resource teachers and was a trainer for the National Standards Curriculum implementation. He was a CSEC Spanish oral examiner for a number of years, for 8 years. And in 2021, he won a prestigious UK government Chevening scholarship, resulting in his completing a master's degree in the UK. He also, ladies and gentlemen, students, is the author of 4 Spanish books, 2 of which are already published. And I'm going to ask Professor Brough to just tell us the names of the books, especially the most recently published ones, because they are going now, they're out there, students and teachers who are here. So feel free to mention them, Prof, at some point in time. And I'm going to now hand over to you.
Okay, muchas gracias, Ramona. Hola, buenos días a todos. Let me see if I can turn on my video. Can someone allow me to turn on the video, please?
Let me make you co-host. Perdón, Profe, we didn't do that. All right. Go right ahead, Profe.
Okay. Vamos a ver.
We're not seeing you.
Okay, can you see me now? It's taking a little while.
Okay, that's fine. And you can double check. Well, you can double check that day.
Well, the camera is on, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Hello, everyone. Buenos días a todos otra vez. Como Ramona dijo, soy
Good morning.
Profe, are you there? Yes, he is. We're not hearing you though.
All right. Bueno. Vamos a ver. Okay. I can't
Oh, we're
see
also
myself.
seeing you. Awesome.
Finalmente. Bueno, voy a comenzar la presentación.
Y ahora, profe, estás congelado.
Yo.
Sí. Sí, ahora sigue. ¿Está bien ahora, profe? Está bien, profe, te veamos bien. Profe, are you hearing me?
Sí, pero no estoy seguro qué está pasando ahora mismo.
¿Con la presentación
Sí,
suya?
un momento, por favor. Estoy tratando de compartir.
Ok,
Bueno,
está bien.
aquí está. Bueno,
All right,
ahora está bien.
yeah.
Bueno.
It seems like you're having some connection challenges, but students just continue to bear with us, all right? We know the eventualities of of online sessions, so we just work through them. Continue, profe.
Bueno, ¿y cuáles son los objetivos de esta sesión? Al fin de las sesiones, ustedes deberían, at the end of the session, you should be able to read a passage fluently in Spanish using the rules of pronunciation and respond to and ask questions correctly about the 6 oral conversation themes. All right, so that's the aim of today's this presentation. So, una descripción general del examen oral. El examen dura 30 minutos. Ustedes van a recibir 15 minutos para preparar y 15 minutos para hacer el examen, right? So the exam lasts 30 minutes. You'll receive 15 minutes to prepare, and then 15 minutes to do the actual exam. So I'll tell you what you'll be preparing in the 15 minutes shortly. El examen tiene solo 2 partes. So the exam only has 2 parts, as you may know. In the past, there used to be 3 parts, but because of the coronavirus pandemic, over the last 2 or 3 years, they have, decreased it to 2 parts instead of 3. I'm not sure if next year they'll go back to 3 parts, and therefore I'm not sure if you guys are fortunate or unfortunate to have only 2 parts for the exam. I particularly liked when there was the oral situations. So you will have only the reading passage, la lectura, y la conversación, right? And the conversation, oral conversation. Cada estudiante recibirá 15 minutos para practicar la lectura. So you'll be given 15 minutes to prepare the reading comprehension passage. Remember, there are only two parts. So before the exam starts, before you are being examined, you will be given the paper with the reading passage. You'll be in the same room or somewhere outside where the examiner can see you, and he or she will give you the reading passage to prepare in the 15-minute time, in 15 minutes. During that time, you cannot write, you cannot correspond with anyone. You will just read the passage on your own and practice multiple times, go through multiple times before you actually go in front of the oral examiner. Okay? El examen tiene un máximo de 55 puntos. So the exam is marked out of 55. So there's a maximum of 55 marks for this exam. The reading is 10 marks. And therefore, the conversation evidently is the most important part. It's 45 out of 55 marks. It's very important that you do a lot of practice on this section of the paper or for this section of the paper. And remember, this will be unseen. So it's not like you'll get this to prepare while you're given the 15 minutes, right? You won't have this section to prepare. So you'll have to just listen to the examiner and respond to the questions. By the way, any questions so far? Hay preguntas ahora? No? All right. ¿Están nerviosos? It's very likely that most of you are nervous, if not all. I remember when I was doing my CSEC Spanish oral exam, I was very, very nervous. And I was a decent, I think, probably better than decent Spanish student, right? But you know, you're nervous for a number of reasons. People get nervous for a lot of reasons. You're not confident in your ability to speak the language. You probably think the questions will be hard. The oral exam, you're saying to yourself, they're going to ask the questions very fast and I won't be able to understand. All kinds of thoughts going through your minds. And it's normal to be nervous about the oral exam, I think, because I've examined hundreds of students in the past, and you know, most students are usually nervous. People have different ways that or techniques that they use to relax themselves when they get nervous, right? One that I usually is taking deep breaths, right? Sometimes I meditate a bit. So for example, if I'm in the exam and I get the paper to prepare, I'll take probably 1 or 2 minutes to just close my eyes, to get in the zone, to breathe, and to sort of get rid of some of the nerves, right? And also to talk to myself, to encourage myself, like, come on, bro, you've got this. You know, you've prepared, you know, try to give yourself a little pep talk to help to ease the nerves. But tell me, I want a few students to tell me now, what are some of the things that you do when you're nervous? Some people get up and pace, if you know, you walk up and down, but obviously the oral exam, you can't do that. So what do you do? Any students? So I want you to share, 2 or 3 students to share with me what you do when you're nervous. Anyone?
Prophet, I'm seeing quite a number of.
They're writing in the chat.
Something? All right, go ahead, Professor Jacqueline.
Pretending the examiner has clown makeup. Inhale, hold and count to 10, then exhale. Praying.
Yes.
Close my eyes and breathe. Count down from 10 and talk to yourself in mind. Are some of the things we have suggested. Trying to steady the breathing. Somebody says crack their knuckles. And normally I pray and say, I've got this.
Yes.
Well, there are some who are saying crying. There you have 2 persons who say take crying. Don't think you can do them the exam. But there are a lot of those who are praying, talking to themselves, telling themselves it will be over soon, playing with a pen, saying in my head, you can do this. Doing hand movements, mentally cry, pray and count to 10 in Spanish. Imagine my mother trying to speak Spanish.
Okay, those sound like a lot.
Yes, there are a lot of them.
For sharing, students. Thank you so much for sharing, students.
Sorry for intervening just now, students. You were not able to unmute Professor Brough. They weren't able to unmute a while ago, but now you're able to, students. All right.
Okay, thank you. Well, I probably will have to try some of those this morning when I turn on the computer at 9:10 for the 10 o'clock meeting and realized that it was taking the entire day. I started to get all jittery and I was like, oh my God, the present 10 o'clock is going to come and I'm not going to be ready. But, you know, I started to pace in the house and try to find ways to encourage myself and to tell myself that it will be fine. And here I am now, it's okay. The exam is only 15 minutes, so you'll be fine. Nobody has ever died, based on my knowledge, died from doing the oral exam. So I think you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. All right, so I'll continue. All right, so let's look at the first part, which is the la lectura, the reading passage. Now, this is the mark scheme that the oral examiners use every year when they're marking your exam. So as I said before, it's 10 marks of the reading, and it's usually 5 marks of pronunciation, well, 5 marks of pronunciation and 5 marks of fluency, maximum. So those account for the 10 points. And I'm focusing on outstanding and very good, because I think that's what you'll aim for, I'm sure. And the rate to get outstanding means that you'll get 9 or 10 out of 10. And it says outstanding pronunciation and fluency. So you pronounce the words excellently and you read with fluency. Correct accentuation and stress, shows comprehension of the passage through correct phrasing and intonation. Right? This usually, when you understand what the passage is saying, this will help with your with how you phrase words, and usually it impacts the intonation, your intonation, right? So you want to aim for 9 or 10 out of 10, right, to be in the outstanding band. Very good. Now it says very good pronunciation and fluency, correct accentuation and stress, only occasional inaccurate phrasing or intonation. So if you make 1 or 2 mistakes, you can still get between 7 and 8 out of 10. All right. Any questions so far? So this is what we look for when we're marking, when we're examining you. How do you get 9 out of 10? How do you get 10 out of 10? How do you get 8 out of 10? Let's delve into it a little bit more. The first thing is that in order to read any language, you have to know the alphabet, right? You have to know the alphabet and the sounds. So the Spanish alphabet, el alfabeto, you need to know the sounds of the letters, right? Let's see. Who can share the Spanish alphabet with us? You're on mute now, so let's see who can do that for us. This is like grade, primary school, prep school, grade 7 Spanish. Let's see.
I'm seeing a raised hand from Love. You can unmute and go ahead.
All right. Let me see.
Okay, so I should just say what's on the screen, right?
Right.
Okay. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Excellent. That was excellent. Anyone else wants to try? I see another hand.
You can go ahead and unmute and try. Adelante.
Adelante.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Brilliant. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. You'll notice that I don't have some, I don't know if I should say letters now, because the Real Academia said they're no longer considered letters, but sounds. I don't have the CH, the RR, and the LL, because they're, as I just said, they're no longer considered letters of the alphabet, but more like sounds. All right, so let's see if you can watch this video.
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I was just saying if you could repeat what you just said now. And I was also asking in the chat, shouldn't NA have a tilde over the N? Or am I wrong? It should?
Well, not this one. There's another N with a tilde, which is enye. That's not there. And right, I was saying before that I didn't include the CH, the RR, the LL, and the N with the tilde, because these are now considered sounds rather than distinct letters of the Spanish alphabet. Is that clear?
Sí, señor. Gracias.
Bueno.
Otra cosa, profe.
Sí.
Well, not another thing, just reinforcing. Yes, you are correct. The Enye, very good observation. The Enye is not included there, and so it was missing. But remember, even though the Che, Eje, or Eye, and the R are considered sounds, they're very, very super important for you all to be able to pronounce properly. And remember this sound in the theta, okay? Remember the Z sound is a sharp S, like a theta, okay?
Bueno. So I'm not sure if any of you has ever seen this TikTok video. Hopefully you'll be able to see it today. Let's watch and see what it's about.
No se escucha, profe. No se escucha. No.
¿De verdad?
No, quizás, no sé, sea la conexión.
Tal vez es porque uso...
Sí, but we can go back to the video or we can try sharing it later down.
Okay.
All right, in the interest of time.
Lo siento mucho, estudiantes. I like the video. Hopefully, you like it as well. Bueno, es importante practicar los sonidos de las vocales. So you need to remember this, especially the vowel sounds. Based on my experience marking the exam or examining students, I find that students tend to mix up the E and I vowel sound, and it's a sort of your English interfering with your Spanish. So A, E, I, O, U. Remember your vowel sounds. All right? So practice those. E and I. All right. Tengo una trabalenguas. I want to know if any of you can do this tongue twister. Who would like to try? Bueno, there's a hand. You can unmute. Ana.
Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas.
Brilliant. Wow, that's excellent. Anyone else? Let me see. Is that Dejane? You can unmute.
Okay, señor. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas.
Oh, that's excellent.
Why they have such fluency?
You're true. Is that Thais?
Cuando
Please mispronounce your name.
Cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca cuentas. ¿Cuántos cuentas? Ah! What the hell? Just what I'm really doing.
Students, mute your mics, please. I'm not sure who that was. Thank you. Gracias.
Please, you have to go.
Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos.
Está bien. Está bien.
Cuando cuentas cuentos, cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas. Porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca cuentas? ¿Cuántos cuentos cuentas?
Okay, muy bien, muchas gracias.
Profe, you know what I
sí?
admire about this student? This student is resilient.
Yes.
This student got so frustrated with herself, but she was so resilient. Excellent. And that's the same
Excelente.
resilient spirit that we want you guys to have going into your exams. Awesome.
Right, and that's a very good thing, Ramona. And when you're reading, and if you realize that you've made a mistake, it's okay to correct yourself and move on, right? If you correct yourself, the examiners won't penalize you. So very good, that was very good. All right, I'm seeing, is that Kevin Kyler? You can unmute.
Yes, sir. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca, cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas.
Muy bien, excelente. Let's take a few more, two more, and then we move on. Is that Akili?
Akela, sir.
Akela, sorry. Go ahead.
Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas.
Excelente, excelente, muy bien. Oh my God, you guys are ready, you know, ready. You guys are all ready.
I would
Is
like to
that-
try as well.
Is that Karim?
Yes, and then I saw go right ahead. Go right
Go
ahead.
Cuando cuentos cuentos. Cuando cuentes cuentos. Cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas. Porque cuando cuentas cuentos nunca cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas.
Excelente, muy bien. And that's something I want to remind students. If you recognize that other students are reading very fast and they seem very fluent, do not be intimidated, right? Take your time and do it how you know how to do it. In Jamaica, we have an expression that says, you know, stay in your own lanes, own a lane, stay in your own lane, right? Take your time and do it in your way. That's very important. Should we take one or two more, Ramonia? Senorita.
One more. There's Rihanna Gordon who really wanted to try. Go ahead,
Okay.
Rihanna, on mute.
Cuando cuentas cuántos, cuánta cuántos, cuantes, cuántas, porque cuando cuentas cuántos, nunca cuantes, cuántos, cuántos, cuántos cuentas.
Muy bien, Rihanna. Is that Rihanna? Muy bien. Bueno. Ahora vamos a continuar. All right. Las reglas de pronunciación. You know their LLs. When you see the LL combination, they're pronounced as a Y in English or sometimes J. Like for those who are from Spain, they usually pronounce it as a J. Z usually has a S as an S sound. AZUL is not azul, but azul, right? AZAFATA is not azafata, it's asafata, right? So Z as S. When you have GE combination, for example, GENEROSO, the G gets an H sound, right? So it becomes generoso. And it's the same thing for a GI combination. The G gets an H sound. So for example, GIGANTE is not gigante or gigante, it's gigante. So the G gets an H sound. Right? The double R's, it's you roll, R, right? You roll. V is pronounced as the English B or sometimes even V, depending on which country you're from or which part of the world you are. H is silent. So for example, HOMBRE, you don't say hombre, you say hombre. Right? And J as a H sound, JOVEN, you say joven. Is that clear? By the way, I don't anticipate that you'll remember all of these, so we'll send you the presentation as soon as we're finished. Bueno. All right. Let's look at the rules of pronunciation, syllabication. Spanish words are generally divided at the end of a line according to units of sound, right? At the end of a line according to units of sound. A syllable normally begins with a consonant, normally, not in all cases. And the division is made before the consonant, right? So look at the word tener, that's 2 syllables, is tener. And the syllable, the second syllable there begins with a consonant, N. The next word, dinero. That's 3 syllables, and the second and the third syllables begin with a consonant, N and R. Referir, also 3 syllables, and americano, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 syllables. Okay, and as you can see highlighted in red, these syllables are usually these syllables usually begin with a consonant. Bueno, anyone wants to say anything, you can raise your hand and let's see if we can. Ramonia, will you monitor that part for me, please? Bueno.
All right, so there are 2 hands, Prophet. One from Thais.
Okay, go ahead. Thais.
Yeah, sir, I wanted to ask. I always have an issue with like pronouncing words that have the accent. So how do you pronounce those words?
All right, we'll look at that shortly. Anyone else? Who was the next one? Senor.
Dakarti.
Dakarti.
Daktari.
Dakari.
I just are you hearing me?
No, I'm not hearing you.
Are you hearing me?
A little better. I'm hearing you a little better now.
Are you hearing me now?
Okay, you can try. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so asking if 2 L's sound will have a SH sound.
If 2 L's have an S sound?
SH sound.
Senora Milton, did you hear what he said? S-A? S-H?
SH.
If 2 L's have a SH sound? No.
Sir, I heard that some people pronounce 2 L's as ja.
Ja? Right, I think that's the J sound I was referring to. But now that you're saying SH, I'm wondering, have you ever heard that? Any of the teachers has ever heard that? Any of the other teachers? I know it as J, as like, for example, you say me but I think maybe what you're thinking is that J as a sh sound, me llamo. Is that what you're referring to? Me llamo. Go ahead. Have I lost connection?
SH sound because in some cases a person says like me llamo or Cocheria. So I was wondering.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I get a J sound from that. So as I just said, me llamo. but I can hear where you're saying the SH, for example, me llamo. I can hear where you're saying the SH sound would be coming from. It's fine if you say, to me, it still sounds the same if you say me llamo, right? So you can just pronounce it in that way if you want.
Senor Bruff, through you, I think it's regional, it's a regional dialectal sound. So you can, some places in South America, mainly in Argentina, I think there are regions in Argentina that the predominant sound that will come based on the pronunciation gives that off an SH sound, but it's not common. So just as how the J sound is sometimes distinct to some regions in Cuba, this it's dialectal, so it is not common practice if the speaker has not heard, the person you're speaking with is not from that region. They may not be familiar with it. So best practice is to go with the standardized ones which you suggested earlier.
Muchas gracias, Senor.
And not only that, to keep your pronunciation consistent. So if you're going to use the Y for the double L, you use it throughout. If you're using the J, you use it throughout. Do not switch between them, because that creates confusion. Okay? Because normally when you're speaking, we really don't, even though there are different sounds and we're aware of them, we don't keep switching back and forth. So the important thing is to be consistent.
Excellent point. Very, very good, Miss. Thank you so much for that. Bueno. All right. So letter combination CH, LL, and RR are never divided. Remember, these are usually, well, these were considered letters, distinct letters of the alphabet. So you don't ever divide these combinations, the CH, LL, and the RR. So it's perro, hallado, dicho. Okay? If two or more consonants are combined, the division is made before the last consonant, except in the combinations BL, BR, CL, CR, PL, PR, and TR. All right? So transporte, continuar, descubierto. So if the two or more consonants are combined, and except the BL, BR, CL, CR, PL, PR, and TR, then the division is made before the last consonant.
So
all right, very important, stress. Now, every single word in Spanish has a stress. The student asked me about this just a few seconds ago or a few minutes ago, and we'll get into it. It's actually at letter C. If a word ends in a vowel, right, A, E, I, O, or U, an N or an S, the next to last syllable is stressed. So what we call the second to last syllable, that's where you stress. Remember, we only stress vowels. So in this word, the first one, espada, there are 3 syllables. This word ends in a vowel. So the stress comes on the syllable that is beside the last one, right? It's next to last, which is pa. So it's espada. You can hear the stress on the A, the first A, espada. The next one is a word that also ends in a vowel, it ends in E, right? And how many syllables? Desastre, 3 syllables. So you stress the second to last one, which is sas, and you stress the A. Remember, we only stress vowel, desastre. The next one ends in an N, right? Remember, we said vowels, N or S. This word has only 2 syllables, joven, right? So therefore, it has to be the first one, because that's the one that's next to the last one. So it's joven. You stress the O. And finally, for this one, this ends in an S, and it's señores. So the second syllable is where the one which is beside the last one is where you stress the O, so it's señores. If the word ends in a consonant, so not a vowel now, if the word ends in a consonant, except N or S, the final syllable is stressed. So this is the B is the reverse of A, right? So it ends in a consonant, except N or S, the final syllable is stressed. All verbs would fall under this category, right? Verbs in the infinitive form. So comprender, right? This ends in an R, so you stress the final syllable. So it's comprender, alabar, recibir, señor. Okay? As I said, we'll share these with your teachers, so you'll have them to review before the exams. And finally, all exceptions to the above rules have a written accent mark, right? So the rule in Spanish is if there is a written accent mark, you stress on a particular letter, usually, well, always a vowel, you stress that letter. So it's sábado, francés, jóvenes, right? So you stress the A, sábado, francés, jóvenes. Okay? Ramona, you shared something some weeks ago about stressing with the stomping of the feet or the foot. Tell us a little about that.
Oh, that's one.
Yeah. Yeah. May I manage the technical aspect of what is going on the Zoom workshop here.
Nerick, you're mute. You're not muted. All right. Oh, for this one, so because we're online, let's just do a snap of the fingers. All right. So, yes, so essentially, and this is very important, students, if the word ends with a vowel or N or S, you place a stress on the second to last syllable. What will help you is every time you are ready to stress the second to last syllable, you snap your fingers or you stomp your feet or so on. Now I'm going to do the first one for you, which is espada. The word is pronounced espada. Now, if I am to snap my finger on the syllable that has a stress, which is the second to last one, you realize that there are 3 syllables. The word ends with an A, a vowel, which is why we place a stress on the pa, which is the second to last syllable, which is why we say espada and not something like, espada or espada or something like that. We say espada. So with your mics muted, I want you to repeat espada. Now this time, you're going to say it again and snap your finger on the syllable. When you get to pa, you'll do something like this. Espada. 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 All right, you did that, guys? Now let's try the next one. Desastre. 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 All right. And that's it for those. The rest you can try on your own. The same thing now, you can try the same technique when the emphasis or the stress moves to the last syllable. And this is in the case of words that end with consonants except N or S. So look at the first one. Comprender. Comprender. So there's comprender, 3 syllables. And because of what it ends with, we place the stress on the very last one, which is why we say comprender and not comprender. Okay, so we place it on the last one, comprender. So let's snap on the last syllable. Let's go. Comprender. Comprender. All right. Mute your mic, students. Quantavius, I'm not sure if that's you. Thank you so much. All right, so that is the strategy. You can try it in your breakout rooms when you're reading your passages and all other exceptions. You just stress the syllable that the written accent is on, you know, that vowel that the written accent is on. Sábado, francés, jóvenes. Over back to you, profe.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
And profe, I realize that you're sorting out through technical stuff. Así es el caso.
Sí. Sí.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, okay?
Sí.
In the meantime, let me see if I have a brave student who would like to try to pronounce any of those words which are on the slide for us. All right, I'm seeing a hand. ¿Quién es? A ver.
Jahim raises his or her hand, I'm not too sure.
Okay, adelante.
Espada.
Espada. Desastre. Joven. Señores. Should I pronounce all of them or just?
You can stop there, Jaime. I think that was an excellent attempt because we have some other hands. I'm seeing Ryan. Go ahead, Ryan.
Comprender, alabar, recibir, señor.
Muy bien, muy bien.
Yes, sir.
Who else did we see? Who else is there? Please unmute, go ahead.
We have Monique and Maison.
Yes. Sábado, francés, jóvenes.
Sábado, francés, jóvenes.
Muy bien. There's a word I just put in the chat. That one. Pronounce that one for me. Anybody? Go ahead. Just put it in the chat.
It's not there.
¿Seguro?
It's not there.
Let me try again. Perdón. Lo que pasa es que mandé el mensaje a una persona. Okay, let's go again. Sing it now. Go ahead.
Zapatos.
Go again.
Zapatos. Zapatos.
Zapatos.
Zapatos.
Muy bien. Muy bien.
Zapatos.
All right.
Zapato.
All right. Now, is that word zapatos or zapatos?
Zapatos.
Okay, so let's do the analysis. I'm hearing the right
Zapatos.
pronunciation and I'm hearing some variation. So it ends with an S. So which syllable will wear the stress? Which syllable are we going to stress?
The second to last.
Second to last.
Second to last, which is what? Pronounce the syllable.
Ha.
Ah, exacto. Entonces, zapatos. Okay, muy bien. Profesor Broff, ¿estás aquí?
Sí, está bien ahora.
Bueno, ¿puedes seguir?
Bueno.
You have to drink a glass of water.
Andre, before you continue, we have someone in the participation list that only has a number. We're reminding you that we need to have your name, your full name. So could the person with the number 17844 just give us your name, please? Thank you.
All right. It seems as if I'm grappling with it again.
All right, Profe. Would you like me to project for you? How many slides do you have to go?
Let me check. But I don't think it's a lot yet. Let's just try to wrap up this because I'm not sure what's happening. Yeah, you're right.
You're at pronunciation, you're at regular pronunciation. All right. Would you like me? I can share it for you. And students, we are making this presentation shareable. At the end of the session, when you complete your evaluation form and we have your email address, we will be sending it to you. Profe, would you like me to share your screen, my screen?
Por favor. Sí, por favor.
Okay. All right, heading there. But in the meantime, we can still keep the conversation going.
All right, so the next slide that we're going to look at is on cognates, los cognados. Can anyone tell us, any brave student tell us what cognates are?
Spanish words that sound like the English version.
Once more, otra vez.
Spanish words that sound like an English word, the English word.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Muy bien. Give me an example of that. Dame un ejemplo.
Hotel and hotel.
Okay, muy bien. Anyone else?
Accident, accidente.
Muy bien. Me?
Person and persona.
Muy bien.
Chocolate, chocolate.
But yes, that's where we are, right? That's where we are.
Passport, visa and visa.
Bueno, so when you get the passage, so these are some of the cognates that have appeared in past CSEC oral reading passages, right? You have to be very careful. When you see the words, you might be thinking that, okay, this is an English word, I should pronounce it like English. You have to still pay attention to the rules of pronunciation in Spanish. So how do you pronounce the first one, IDEA in Spanish? Anyone?
Idea.
Idea.
Excelente, idea. Idea. The second one, IDEAL.
Ideal.
Ideal. Excelente, muy bien, ideal. La próxima. La próxima palabra.
Autor.
Autor.
Autor, right, excelente. La próxima.
Club.
Muy bien, everybody's pronouncing that perfectly. Muy bien. La próxima.
Familiar.
Excelente. La próxima.
Particular.
That's CU. Pay attention to that CU.
Particular.
Excelente, sí. Particular, excelente. La próxima.
General.
Right. Why is it not general?
Because of the
G follows the G.
Oh, everyone is very smart. Remember, we have the GE combination there, so the G gets an H sound, so it's general. La próxima.
Final.
Sí. La próxima.
Personal.
I'm hearing personal. Where are you supposed to stress?
Syllable.
No lo sé.
Don't know. Right, very good. So, right, so it ends in a consonant. So, you stress where? except N or S. So where do you stress?
The last syllable.
Right. So it is
Personal.
Personal.
I'm hearing a stress on the O for some people.
Personal.
Right, muy bien. Excelente.
Personal.
Sí, sí, excelente. La próxima.
Real.
Excelente. Y la próxima.
Fundamental.
¿Cómo se pronuncia?
Fundamental.
F-U-N. Sí, fundamental. ¿Y la próxima?
Area.
Where do you stress? Which of the A's?
The first A.
Area. Bueno, next slide, please. So that's basically it for the pronunciation. Let's do a brief practice. Oh Lord, should we do this, Ramona? It's 11:37. Should we just try to skip through so that we can get to the most important part, which is the practice?
Well, it's not more important, but it's just as important. But I think we can skip through because the students are going to be practicing in their rooms. But
Right.
you can feel free to just give them tips on the conversation, at least expose them to the rubric, and then we can go into the breakout rooms.
All right. So sorry for taking up so much of your time, student.
No, profe, tranquilo. We had technical matters.
Bueno, entonces, so for the guided conversation, remember this is 45 marks, right? You're tested on the you're given two major scores, right? You're given for comprehension and spontaneity, you're tested for comprehension and spontaneity, which is 20 marks, and you're also tested for expression and fluency, which is 25 marks. Your marks for comprehension and spontaneity will go towards your listening profile, right? So it will be added to the 30 marks on the multiple choice paper, the first 30 items, to form your listening profile. So listening is 50 marks, right? Listening is very important in an oral exam because if you're not listening, clearly you might not be able to answer the questions properly, okay? So somebody's saying it stopped. I'm not sure what stopped.
Sigue, profe.
Okay, bueno. So you're looking to get between 18 and 20 out of the 20 marks for comprehension and spontaneity. Comprehends all questions and answers readily. Spontaneity means how spontaneous you are, right? How quickly or how readily you respond to the questions. And then to get between 23 and 25 marks for expression and fluency, it says student responds appropriately and fluently, and correct expression and wide and varied vocabulary. So, you know, I've examined students in the past. They've come in there and everything you ask them, they say, es interesante, or es importante. So, you know, if you're going to be using the same vocabulary over and over and over, you're not going to be getting good scores, right? And you're using a wide and varied vocabulary. Try to add some idioms in. So you're saying, for example, they say, ¿qué haces los fines de semana? What do you do on weekends? You can say, de vez en cuando yo limpio mi dormitorio, pero normalmente yo cocino la comida, right? So you used to try to add some idioms to add flair to your language, if possible. De vez en cuando, of course, you know, means from time to time, or de cuando en cuando. To get very good for comprehension and spontaneity, you should get about between 15 and 17 marks. And it says the student comprehends most questions fully first time and answers with minimal hesitation. You are allowed to ask the examiner to repeat, repita por favor. However, you have to be very careful, because if every time he or she asks a question and you say repita por favor, you're going to be losing marks for spontaneity, right? It means, and comprehension, of course, it means you're not understanding on the first time and you're not responding readily. You're not spontaneous in your responses. So you have to be very careful about that. And finally, for expression and fluency to get between 20 and 22 marks out of, right, I'm seeing a comment from one of our very good teachers. She's saying you try to include some connectors, for example, a veces, sometimes, and so on. So again, to get between 20 and 22 marks out of 25 for expression and fluency, it says the student responds appropriately and fluently. Correct expression with an occasional inaccuracy and wide and varied vocabulary, right? So if you make one or two mistakes, you probably fall in this band, but you know, we're not going to kill you if you're really trying and you make one or two mistakes. You still can get an A for this exam. All right, next slide, please. We're going to go through a little bit faster now. If you have any questions, you can ask in the breakout groups, okay? As I said before, the oral conversation is the last part of the exam. It's 45 marks, and you're graded for fluency and expression and comprehension and spontaneity. And the marks for the spontaneity and comprehension go towards your listening profile. And you're tested on 4 of 6 topics or themes, right? So the themes are home and family, daily routine, shopping, travel, sports and recreation, and school and career. You're to prepare all of the themes because you don't know which 4 themes will be coming, right? Students will get 4 questions from 4 themes. So in total, you'll get about 16 questions. So you'll get 4 on home and family. You may get 4 on home and family, 4 from shopping, 4 from daily routine. And you'll be given a variety of questions. You'll be given some very simple ones, some middle range ones, and some 1 or 2 that require more Spanish. Not difficult, but they require more Spanish. So they will say explica, explain, right? And that's usually question 7 or question 8. And you must answer all questions in Spanish. Okay, next slide. Useful expression, repita por favor, otra vez por favor, a ver, right? A ver, let's see. They ask you a question, they say, a ver, let's see, right? Bueno, vale. ¿Qué significa? Lo siento, pero no comprendo. Déjame pensar un poquito, por favor. Déjeme pensar un poquito, por favor. Pues, well, repeat please, again please, let me see. Okay, what does it mean, right? You can ask a significa, but you try not to ask it more than once because you're going to lose marks. Lo siento, pero no comprendo. Déjeme pensar un poquito. Let me think a little, please. Okay, next slide, please. It's very, very important that you know your interrogatives, right? You need to know these for the exam. Sorry? Lindsay? Okay. You know, who, quién, what, qué, cuándo, dónde, cómo, cuál, cuáles, por qué, cuánto, cuánta, cuántos, cuántas, and so on. So you need to know your interrogatives, right? A lot of your questions that the examiners pose will include these interrogatives, these question words. And finally, I think we're almost at the end before we get into our breakout groups. Very important as well for you to know the present tense. You'll find that most of the questions require you to use the present tense, but also please review other tenses. Sometimes they ask questions requiring you to use the conditional tense, or for you to narrate something that happened in the past using preterite and or imperfect and so on. So you have to review your tenses. You should know your vocabulary for various themes. If you're doing shopping, you should know words like la tienda, which means a store or a shop, right? So you need to know the vocabulary for each theme, and verbs as well. If you're doing shopping again, you need to know express verbs like ir de compras, hacer las compras, and so on. All right? And the next slide is what not to do. Do not go in the exam and pass on questions. You don't know to answer, try, right? Just say something. Don't pass. Don't ever say pass, all right? Ask for some questions to be repeated. So you don't ask for the questions to be repeated. It should be multiple times, right? The S is missing from times, right? Don't answer the questions to be repeated multiple times because, as I said, you're going to lose marks of spontaneity. do not speak English in the oral exam at all, and do not use Spanglish, right? You want to make up words, or you don't know a word in, so you just use the English and put on a little Spanish flair to it. Don't do it. Some of you are guilty of that. I've had students who used to do that too, but don't do that. And I think that's it. Let's see the next slide. Sí se puede. Es importante practicar, so practica, 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 practice, 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 y buena suerte, and good luck. ¿Hay preguntas? Are there any questions before we get into our breakout groups?
I think there was a question in the chat, Profe, about CXC sending a list of questions, and if those are repeated. I'm not sure about that list, but I can tell you, students, that every year there's some questions that might come back in another form or restated in another way. But the best thing for you to do is to just arm yourself all the time with questions and with responses, practice your responses. But most importantly, even as you practice your responses, it's very important that you use your language skills. So if you're in the exam, you might be hearing a question for the very first time. It's those skills that will enable you to respond to the questions correctly. All right. So practice your questions and apply your language skills. Okay. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Other questions?
What if you don't know how to roll your R's? You shared a story recently about that, Senior Professor Hamilton, about
yes.
you not being able to do it until you're at university.
Thank you.
What advice do you have for that student?
The same thing. If you're not able to roll your R's, when you see a double R and you're not able to do that R, and it's fine. It is fine. You won't be marked down. Try to roll it, but if you're unable to roll your R's, you pronounce the word as best as you can. I didn't get that skill until I was at the University of the West Indies, and which would mean that I would have got through high school and college. So I struggled with it in college, but I got it eventually, and that's fine, students. So just keep working on it. I didn't stop working on it, so keep working on it. All right. It's not a natural sound for us as speakers of English or non-native speakers of Spanish. It's not a natural sound for us. And so maybe that's why some of us struggle with it. All right. Well, Professor Kitson is saying that he learned from a student in his 3rd year of teaching. Look at that. Not sure whose mic is opened, but feel free to mute it. All right. So, Professor Brough, I'm not sure if you were finished.
Sí, eso es.
All right.
Mil gracias por venir. Mil gracias por compartir. Es un placer tenerles a ustedes hoy y vamos a continuar.
Gracias, profe, por su excelente presentación. Gracias a ustedes, nuestros estudiantes, por su participación, y a los profesores también que apoyaron la sesión principal de hoy. Now we are almost out of time. Clearly, we're going to be running out of time. We beg your patience. We are going to be moving swiftly now into the breakout rooms, and I'm going to ask my facilitators to, whether from our WhatsApp group or right here in the chat, please go to the room to which your name is assigned, or you can check in the group, because we are going to be doing a random placement of everybody on the platform in the groups, but you, our co-hosts or facilitators, will have to find your room and you will have to go there. So this message is for our facilitators. Sorry, it's for our facilitators, all right? So students, we're going to be going into WhatsApp groups now. Sorry, we're going to be going into our breakout rooms now. The WhatsApp group to which I referred is the WhatsApp group for our facilitators and teachers for today. Okay, so settle down, calm down. All right, that's the group I'm talking about. So we're going to now move into breakout rooms. It's going to take a little bit, but just be patient with the process and practice and participate fully. All right, guys, take care. And we'll meet back here shortly.
In the meantime, I'm asking the prompt to go into your breakout rooms to just join.
Malbis, Professor Malbis and Samoya, please go to breakout room 15. We have created a room for you. Breakout room 15 is yours. Professor Yanka, I had to move you to make you co-host. Please go back to your room.
Okay. Please, teacher Maite, she needs to be with me because she was.
What room are you in?
My room is 9.
All right, no problem. 9,
Thank
okay.
you.
All righty.
Hola, me trajeron acá, ¿por qué?
No, es para hacerte co-host. Ahora regresa a tu sala. ¿Qué
Ah,
sala
ya,
fue?
ya, dale.
Ajá. So you're at 15, Malvis.
No, en la 14,
14. All
con
right.
Karash. Ujú.
14. Okay.
Ah, Ronaldo Johnson. Ese es mi alumno. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Van a
Sí.
apoyar? Empieza a repartir gente.
Okay, te pongo ahora en 14.
Sí, dale, quiero compartir un PowerPoint.
Tell you what, Malvis, why am I not seeing 14 here?
Bueno, me mandó Neric a la 14
Yeah.
y tengo derecho ahora para compartir. Puedo compartir, pero no.
Hold on, let me see. No. You should be in 15, you know.
Bueno, me pusieron con Karash there. Miss Wolf.
I'm putting you in 15. You and Samoa should be in your own breakout room. You hear?
Oh, Lord.
I'm gonna ask you to go in breakout room 15. I'm sending you there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I began already there, but well, it's okay.
Jesus.
Daniela?
Hola, one sec. Sorry, let me just try to place those of you who are here in breakout rooms. All right. Is anyone hearing me?
Yes, Miss, hearing you.
Who was that? Sarah?
Yes, Miss.
Sarah, you're supposed to be.
With Dylan Ashman, but he's trying to get back on, so.
I'm going to put you in the room nevertheless. Is that okay? And you can work with the kids. Are you able to join room 9?
Room 9, sure.
All right. What I would ask you to do in the meantime, those questions that we had sent, just work with them with those. You can start with that until he gets back on.
Okay, Miss. Isn't
All
someone
right.
in room 9?
Go again?
I think someone is in room 9 because I went in there earlier and someone was there.
Well, if someone is there facilitating, then that's fine. You can still join the room. I'm not sure. I haven't gone to all of them as yet. I just want to place everybody here was not gone in as yet. So yeah, not sure what to tell you what to do, but is there anybody else hearing me here? Anyone else on the side? Who is that?
Jaden.
All right. Sorry, Jaden. You were in room 1, Jaden? Were you in a breakout room already? Is it that you
room 1.
returned to the main room?
Yeah, because I wasn't hearing anything and no one was presenting.
I'm gonna place in another room.
Okay.
Pitson? Paula Lee?
Yes, Miss, I just got disconnected again.
I'm going to ask you to go to room 6 and work with the students there, all right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dominic. All right, Dominic. Pitson? Is there anyone here that is hearing me now and not assigned?
Yes, I can understand.
Well, it seems that this finished. Huh?
Yes, we're back in the main room.
Damas y caballeros, excelente. Okay, we're
Excelente, sí.
We are back.
we're back. We're back.
Mucha lucha, pero sobrevivimos. Porque somos vencedores.
Eso, eso. Podemos lograrlo. Bueno, los chicos yo estaba haciendo un trabalengua con la R.
Muy bien. Bueno, now so we're here now at 2:41. I think all the breakout rooms have closed. Pero bueno, and we are almost at 1 o'clock. We are so way over time. We had some challenges, with a lot of challenges today, with some technical challenges all over, but we're grateful to God for taking us to the end. We would have wanted to get some more practice, students, teachers, facilitators, but we understand that these things can happen, and I thank you. I thank you for your patience. Before we close, I'd like to ask the students, can you share with us anything that you learned or that you found interesting that you know in your session just now in your breakout room? Anybody at all? I'm seeing a hand up, Judane.
Yes, Judane.
Yes.
I would say overall, someone just said it now in the chat, pronunciation. I didn't realize how vital it was to stress certain letters, even though they don't have an accent on them, depending on what they end with. Like for N and S, you focus on the, second to last syllable, you stress that one. So I thought that was interesting. Interesante.
Excelente, gracias. Excellent response. I saw some of the names, JD, and then I want to hear from Prashanti.
Okay, for me, one thing that I learned, just to quote the person before me, was also pronunciation. And another thing that the presenter had said was that when we're answering questions, especially those that ask, ¿por qué? Why? Or, for example, they ask, how many rooms are in your house? They would expect you to expound more. So that's one thing that I learned, that when you're answering, expound more and pronunciation.
Very good response. Definitely expanding more, especially if you have the vocabulary, students, and you really know how to say something. Why not just show off, Go ahead, Prashanti.
I learned a few more words which I could add to my vocabulary, like suelo or solemos. I could use them in a sentence.
Very good, especially and when you use suelo or solemos, and I'm seeing your response, Shakari, nice. That's like a little bit advanced, and so that will give you a nice advantage, some props. Your examiner will be pleased if you use an expression like that. Okay. All right. I'm not sure if we had placed previously the link for the evaluation in the chat. Did we? If there's any facilitator who has it, please do so. I'm going to put it now as well. We have recorded this morning's session, and so I'm going to ask you, students, you can please fill out the evaluation link. I've just put it in the chat. Go ahead. And I'm seeing some of your responses. Grayson says structuring sentences better. That's what you learned. Leanna says my instructor gave us tips on reading. Jada says that we shouldn't be too repetitive with our vocabulary. Definitely use synonyms. Sentence structuring. Donato. And Reina says I learned negocios means business, and a couple of other students would have said what they learned as well. Okay, and our facilitators, Thank you so much. I'm seeing Professor Malby saying that I'm happy with the students that they were motivated. And you know, they have so much potential, and that is so true. Professor Osmani says, it was great, my first experience, and with all my respect. Professor Osmani, I'm reading your message out loud. We love you, Profe.
No, don't.
My apologies, my apologies, my apologies. But yes, it was good to have you on, and I want to especially acknowledge the rest of our facilitators. We weathered through the storm this afternoon. It was a lot with the technical challenges, but you know what? We did it. Lo hicimos, y ya vencimos. So thank you again so much, facilitators. Thanks to you, our students. You really participated. There were some rooms that took a minute to get a facilitator, and you were very cooperative. And to my room four babies, los quiero mucho. You worked a lot with me. I facilitated, ended up doing that in room 4. You guys tried, you did well. So we will see you in a little bit at 3 o'clock Jamaica time. And facilitators who will be on this afternoon, feel free to if there was a theme that you had you didn't finish up, you can ask 1 or 2 questions on that theme before you go into this afternoon's themes. Okay, I'm going to open the floor if there's anybody else who wants to say anything before we leave.
Yes, I would like to encourage the students to continue practicing and continue doing what they are doing, because they are doing it so well. I couldn't hear, you see, the mistakes that we had in previous years. The students were so careful in not repeating. For example, with the H, it was like they put the brakes every time they saw an H to make sure they were not pronouncing it. So that's great. That's great, because they're getting conscious. They're very conscious of not making those mistakes. That's excellent.
That is excellent.
So continue moving forward. I'm sure you will do it. You will do well.
You hear that, students? Felicidades. You guys are doing well, man. You guys are doing well. We are proud of you. And we know that you'll continue to push through. Okay? ¿Alguna otra persona? ¿Otro comentario?
I just want to say, well, congrats to the students in Breakout Room 3. They tried. And yes, I think our students are taking our advice into consideration. So I'm sure the improvement that we are hoping for, we will see it. To everyone, I would say, remember our theme, si se puede. Think that you can. So don't focus on all the errors you think you are going to make. Focus on the fact that you can succeed. Okay, because if you go in thinking you can succeed, you will succeed. So make that your motivation, because you have shown us that you are capable of doing it. Okay, so thank you very much for your cooperation, one and all.
Thank you, Professor Jacqueline. I'm seeing a student's hand up. David, I'm not sure if that hand was up before. Davian?
Oh, Miss, I wanted to make a comment. I wanted to say thank you. This experience has been really amazing. And I want to say a special thanks to Miss Mackenzie in dorm room 6. That was really, really fun. It felt like I knew her. It felt like I knew her. It has been a really amazing experience, and I want to thank you guys for that opportunity.
Amazing. Thank you for expressing that, you know, and encouragement is always good, and our teachers really work hard. Karim, I'm seeing your hand.
Ramona, teacher is asking whether or not these exercises will be repeated for paper 2-1-1.
Yes. Yes, we might not have it for 2 per day, but we will definitely be doing at least 1 session per paper. So listen out, guys. Your teachers will tell you about it. All right, and you don't have to use your own email address. Sorry, you don't have to use your school's email address when you're filling out the evaluation. All right, pasting it again in the chat. So guys, we're going to pause the session and reconvene at 3. Sí se puede, Professor Simmons. Sí. Yes, we're going to reconvene at 3 p.m. To my facilitators who will be on this afternoon, please be back by 2:30 so we can, if you leave the space, we can readmit you. We will not be closing the meeting, so you do not necessarily have to leave, but we will definitely be pausing for a lunch break until that time, until 3 o'clock. Okay? Entonces,
Sí, professor.
right. So if there are no more comments or anything, we are gonna just pause for now until at 3. Okay? Adiós, nos vemos.
Nos vemos a las